Hello friends, thank you very much for the opportunity to share some thought, some idea and some of our own research on this subject CBD oil. And our focus will be safety and efficacy of this molecule. Basically, I'm a drug development scientist who develop drugs which are compromised in their delivery system. And today's date, there are more than 45 drugs in the market which are compromised in their delivery system. And in the result of that, what is happening, it is hurting more than it is helping people or patient. And one of the example which is known to everybody who has any experience with the study, research, or patient is the paclitaxel. Paclitaxel is the wonderful drug which ever been discovered from plant. And during the process of research, even today's date, they failed to optimize its delivery system. And the result, when somebody is treated with paclitaxel, they are losing their hair, losing their appetite, inflammation everywhere, because needed dose may be, say, 15 milligram, but they have to inject 120 milligram to reach that dose which is needed to treat the disease. And what 85% does? Just making people bald, unhealthy, compromised immune system. And same is true for this CBD molecule. It's a hard truth, but that's true. It belongs to the same category, what paclitaxel and other alkaloid kind of things available for treatment. Can somebody help on this?
Adam? No?
So while I was conducting my research on those type of molecules, I discovered CBD is one of them which needed the same attention what other drug needed. So we started our research on this, how we can have the best drug delivery system for the CBD alone. So in this presentation, we will discuss few things which I have observed with my own research and with the community and the people who are using this molecule. I'm sorry, I think something happened to this.
Sorry, Adam left the room. I'm going to switch laptops. Hopefully you can just pick up.
Unfortunately, I cannot connect with you without this modern technology.
It's a Murphy's Law type of day. There we go.
Yes, let's move to the first slide. Keep on moving it, I think that's a good job. Second one. Second slide.
Uh-oh. Come on. Oh no.
I think he's here.
Do you get? Let's do this one.
Okay, that's why he's here. Okay, go to the second slide.
Did it go Howard Saber?
Yeah, and then it wants password, and then we're back.
I turned this off.
Second slide.
All right, let me try turning it off really quick again.
Yeah, please.
Sorry, guys. What? Never.
they're funny names, spice, dice, this and they're funny names. And they're all funny and very fancy names. But if you ask them, can you give me the molecular formula of this? Can you give me the molecular weight of this? Can you give me the structure of this? Can you give me this? We don't have it. So they can have their own name. They don't have scientific name because they don't know. There is one company I know, probably in Chicago, they get caught also. They were selling this. Thank you very much, everybody.
If we could hold all questions for right after, we'll both be up. I'm going to speed through a little bit. So, again, to the end. Some of this they've gone over. FDA not being involved is creating a lack of trust with products and really connecting with people that, unless they're really seeking it avidly, being told about it, but through a friend or somebody else. And then another emphasis is cannabis is being much more scrutinized, regulated on the state level for testing, for growing procedures, everything from seed to end product. And hemp is relatively, it has less restrictions right now. And that's an area of concern, right? So when it comes to reliability of your source. With companies out here, including us, we're doing our own diligence. We're self-regulated. We do the testing that we seem fit. We use techniques that are in the industry, are out there in practice, but a lot of it is kind of our own home brew. Hopefully not in the kitchen, but it is our home brew that we're doing out here. And I threw the organic thing in because it's a concern, it's a question that comes up, and a small percentage of what we offer. Not talking about the CBD or the hemp itself. That could be grown organically. However, there's a lot of organic farmers that will say they're organic, but when it comes to, there's a recent contest, I think, in Colorado where they emphasized just organic growing techniques, and I think out of all the farmers, maybe like 50 or 60 showed up. So organic, unless it's certified, right? This is why we trust organic products and we look for that label. There is few in the marketplace. That from the CBD, from the extract, or from the additives. Because as soon as you do some additives and processing, that's a different story. So how do you trust your oil? What are you going to look for? So the previous gentleman did emphasize the types of testing that we do from the cannabis side. Similarly, for the CBD side, you have microbial testing for any concerns of E. coli, things like this that you hear about. Pesticide testing for all the different pesticides that are used in the products. Residual solvent, that's how most of the product is extracted, whether it's alcohol, whether it's butane or other volatiles. And heavy metal testing, that's something that's still not prevalent, but standard labs out there, certified ISO and federally approved labs, they will always do some sort of offer heavy metal testing. And then final product testing, right? You want, in terms of, final product, how it's manufactured, you want to use FDA-approved additives, right? Because yes, CBD is kind of in this orphan category, in this kind of arm's length category, but everything else we use definitely should be GRAS, should be an FDA-approved additive type products. I'm not going to go into details of what are the different additives that are being used. You've seen them out there, lecithin, you've seen propylene glycol, you've seen glycerin, you've seen tween, polysorbates, different ways, different techniques for trying to make this stuff bioavailable. And then obviously you want it to come from a GMP or at least a facility that's food grade, right? So these are questions you can ask. Every manufacturer should be able to answer this, right, and provide that answer for you. This is going into your body. Talking about bioavailability, therapeutic dosing, as Dr. Meva mentioned, and others have probably touched upon, is what is this therapeutic dosing? We talked about having too much is you want to find the optimal dose for you. It is a dose-to-dose thing when it comes to each patient. It's different. 5 milligrams might work for you, 10 milligrams might work for somebody else, 50 might work for somebody else. It also depends on the type of form, one product compared to the other. We'll get into that slide in a bit. But the whole harmful aspect, This, you know, we're kind of a little bit lucky with cannabinoids, with terpenoid type of extracts that we're taking, that we don't get to experience that. Even LD50, which is lethal dose values, are really not noted. They've done some on dogs, and it's ridiculous. You got to take like 10,000 pounds worth in an hour, or inhaled. It's not happening. But there are diminishing returns if you're taking excess. People starting with just like the standard extract, which is like also known as RSO, or Rick Simpson oil, or just hemp oil, right? With patients that I experienced initially when I was working with, 90% of it was ending up in the fecal matter. You could smell it. They were like, you know, it's going to waste. It was unfortunate because they're taking so much for some of these ailments, just, you know, trying, especially the hard ones like cancer. So, you know, the optimal dose to get is absolute. As you might have heard many times, this is a fat-soluble compound. How does your body dissolve anything fat-soluble related? You need a healthy gallbladder, right? The gallbladder comes in, it passes the stomach, goes into the small bowel. That's where it gets released to emulsify or digest, the CBD. Question, or the issue is, most Americans and worldwide, there's a big gallbladder issue. Whether you feel the pain or know if you have stones or not, almost 20% of the population suffers from this. So this is why a lot of companies are out there trying to make nanotechnology or more bioavailable this product, so you can get that optimal dose and you don't have to take so much of it, because there's also that cost factor when it comes to it. Sorry, next slide, that shouldn't have been in there. Efficacy is a word that I want to introduce because potency is talked about quite often. How many milligrams? How many milligrams? Is this 10 milligrams? Is it 150 milligrams in this bottle? Is 500 milligrams in this? How much are in per capsule? That's okay if we're just talking apples and apples. We're just comparing raw extract to raw extract, whether it's an isolate, but how many milligrams? When you start processing something, now you've totally changed how much is available and how what effective dose what actual ingested dose you're getting. So that is this word I want to introduce, efficacy, if you haven't heard it before. Efficacy is kind of the ability for a substance or product to reach that maximum desired effect, whether it's I want to relieve my pain, I want to relieve the amount of seizures I'm having. That varies, and that is not dose dependent. So this chart is just simply trying to show that a certain drug might have a maximum, no matter how much you take, the amount of efficacy it could possibly have, the amount of desired effect. It's not going to relieve somebody's pain more than, say, 50%. Shave it. You're taking more and more and more. That's where that excess principle comes in, where the body's in at that point just trying to clear it out. It's not, saturated what it's going to do as far as, the effect on the receptors, where you have another that is able to reach 100%. So when you're comparing these products, when you're coming up and you're like, well, that has 500 milligrams, that has 200 milligrams, keep this in mind, right? Keep this in mind. That is not like comparing one product to the other just in terms of potency.
Can you explain the x-axis? I don't understand the...
These are concentrations in terms of milligrams, right? So
to the third, fourth, and fifth, is that what I'm seeing? I don't...
Oh, for these?
Yeah,
Well,
I don't understand that logic.
well, these are, the negative aspect shows you, so a bigger negative exponent number is that's a smaller amount that you're getting. So the fact that the numbers are getting smaller means you're actually getting more concentration, right? So this is showing for, say, product A, when you're going into a higher concentration, it has a threshold, there's a maximum efficacy that it can reach for that desired effect.
Okay.
Yet product B is able to reach it at 100%. And when you look at it when it gets to the same milligrams, right, this product is actually going to give you the better desired effect. You can keep taking this one, trying to reach this, but see the plateau happens. There's a maximum efficacy for products out there, right? These are requiring a lot more research, individual research or group research where somebody's taking a look at a lot of different products, but there's so many product offerings, that's still underway. Again, you guys are your doctors, right? You guys decide, I tried one, it didn't work, and I get this often with patients, not to deviate, where they'll be like, yeah, I tried it, and it didn't work. That didn't work. That particular product didn't work. Doesn't mean to kind of give up on the whole concept, right? No problem. So I'm going to go right into case studies. So I have a first case study presenting. It's an osteoarthritis patient. previous doc mentioned, when it came to pets, number one use for a lot of these cases, osteoarthritis, incredible amount of inflammation in the knees particularly, other places as well, but knees and hips typically is where you see patients eventually requiring surgery, knee surgery, replacement. So you have a 67-year-old female, wants to delay surgery, doesn't want to do it, and that's fine. That's your body, right? Whatever procedures you want to do, absolutely you should be in charge of that. Pharmaceutical avoidance, a lot of the pharmaceutical drugs offered for OA have a slew of side effects, really bad side effects. They want to avoid that, taking Tylenols, Advils, those aren't great too, right? They'll tell you maximum 6 per day, causes liver toxicity. So these type of patients, typically I've seen, they want to complement. They're, very rare you see right off the bat, I want to replace my therapy and I just want to go on CBD. You have that, but the majority of crowd out there is wanting to add something, that's what we call a supplement, add to their regimen. So this patient started adding, definitely didn't want to try anything to do with cannabis, was very, as a lot of patients I encountered, they've never taken it before, very afraid to take it, and as soon as that head high hits, the first time you get that bad dosing, forget about it, right? Wanted to go heavy CBD. We tried a CBD formulation. This patient has gotten off all Tylenol, Advil use, down to 1 capsule a day. As far as, I'm not going to do product promotion, but if you guys want to find out about product and have specifics for what was used for these case studies, I can emphasize that. I'm at we're at booth 806, or afterwards, if you like. Case study 2, we had a small young patient, young girl, 10 years old, Lennox-Gastaut, which is one of these rare epileptic conditions. Epidiolex is one of those drugs that just got approved to treat something like this. This was one of the specific ailments that the clinical trial was used for. This patient, ketogenic diet, which is common with this type of issue because carbs exacerbate the problem. So, you had these challenges. You're like, okay, you're in ketogenic, well, you're fat-soluble diet, so okay, maybe we can give you something. But I'm dealing with a 9, 10-year-old girl that gets fed, spoon-fed, right? Most of she's in a very disabled state. Kind of reaching puberty, the increasing frequency of seizures is concerning the mom. She wants to look for an alternative. Child has been on drugs quite a bit, most of her life. So I tried a water-soluble at that point, just a standard water-soluble. This doesn't demean anybody doing water-soluble. Water-soluble is great, right, to get more bioavailability into the body. I gave it to her. She was doing a dosing of 10 milligrams twice a day. And it managed to bring 18 to 20 seizures down to 1 to 2 seizures, which was exceptional for them. They were happy as heck. But one further, during this time, we started working with herbal blends and combination therapy, going kind of beyond just what one plant can offer. We come from a synergistic kind of mindset, an Ayurvedic mindset. So we prepared something else that also worked on the cellular side, the inflammation side. So it was a combination, same 10 milligram dose, same water solubility, but now added with herbs. That same patient would take this dose once every 2.5 days. Same effect, 1 to 2 seizures a day, at most, once every 2.5 days. For a parent dealing with a child, having to dose them, this is exceptional. They love this, from that angle and a financial angle. That kind of emphasizes the slide that I showed you before introducing efficacy. It's different for every product. Now, I've talked about this a little bit as terms of herbal combination. You see this in other products out there. They're adding turmeric, they're adding other things. So those are now complementing, or not to go too into the entourage effect, I'm sure you've heard about this. Basically, the whole plant extract is better than isolate. You have this entourage of other ingredients that are helping. Now this is something that goes kind of beyond the entourage. Now you're introducing other herbs. They're working on a cellular level, whether it's anti-inflams, whether they're kind of mimicking our hormonal response. Whatever that combination is, in combination with the CBD that's affecting your neurotransmitter activity, you're getting true synergy, a greater synergy, for instance. There's always ways to improve products. So this was one of the cases where it showed that allopathic medicine treats, especially when you see cancer protocols, they give you a multitude of chemo drugs to kind of target that disease. So the theory is not just a theory; it is practiced and is used by standard medicine. Couple cases, and then we'll wrap up. This one was trying to get relief from depression. Almost, 3 episodes of trying to commit suicide, over a short period of time. Heavy pharmaceutical regimen, put her on a CBD regimen, and within literally a week, she was hiking, right? So you have dramatic, some take longer, some take shorter. This was a very short period of time where you saw a great difference in mood. Last case 4, a cancer patient, multiple myeloma, end-of-life treatment. Initially came up just for pain relief. We tried cannabis-based therapy, worked a bit on the pain, but then over time wanted to do more. We gave him heavy doses of cannabis, did not tolerate that very well, has never tried cannabis before to begin with. I saw potential with Ethan Russo's work that was out there. I was like, okay, discussed it. I said, let me go a little bit higher on dosing for this patient to see if we can cause that type of anti-cancer effect at this late in the stage. Here's the results from that study. This is where the nano CBD was started. This is the IgG protein, which typically measures the cancer increase within this type of cancer, multiple myeloma. We started here, you see a dosing regimen regularly of 10 mLs a day, right? We were doing 250 milligrams of water-soluble CBD a day. Got up to here, that's when you see the plateau happen. We saw a dramatic decrease. We got to a therapeutic dose where now we could combat the proliferation of the cancer and got it to revert. Till this day, this was back in 2016, still around, much less dosing. Like Dr. Mabel explained, he's gone down. He's doing about 50 milligrams a day, 25 to 50 milligrams a day. One size does not fit all. As we said, everyone's different. Things to look out for, just to reemphasize bioavailability, right? Safety of additives, synergy, isolates. I'm not the biggest fan. Whole plant extract, added herbs, dosing to get the maximum effect without going over the dosing. To all manufacturers, obviously, product consistency, that is what they're demanding from us. We need to give that. We need to offer that. There's a uniformity test, which is something new you guys should look into. Steep Hill offers it. And research. As much of the case studies. We can't do clinical trials ourselves, but we should put out, in related to our products, as much case study work as we can to help people make informed decisions. Thank you. Yes.
You said you do heavy metal testing.
Yes.
On your product. I want to understand the logic why.
Well, the soil, that particularly hemp or whatever, for us it's a big concern when it comes to other herbs that we add in, right? Because they come from out of the country, different places. I mean,
FDA looks at it outside the U.S., but not really in the U.S.
No, I mean, FDA kind of ignores, I don't want to say ignores, there's regulation out there, but there's so much, once turmeric is recognized as a food product, that's when its uses, no problem, it comes in. Does every single batch of turmeric or barrels coming in get tested for heavy metals? No. So this is our diligence because we're offering it for a medicinal use.
But in the beginning, we were allowed to use only hemp from Europe.
Okay.
So, and there are many soils which are heavily adulterated with mercury, lead. And both
So
are,
I understand that there's requirements on China, India, Thailand for heavy metal testing, but I didn't know it was required in Europe unless you're importing products.
in the beginning, about 10 years back, it was importing. Only imported was allowed.
My second question is pesticide. Of all the testing you do, the pesticide can be the most expensive. The previous speaker said he tested for 51 pesticides. How many do you guys test for?
I mean, most labs are paralleling in terms of the common pesticide use for cannabis or hemp-related products is well known, they're well documented. If you go in Colorado, they'll give you a constant, like every 2-week approval of what's approved and what's not approved. The labs really reflect
But how many
the.
tests are there? Is it like a hydrocarbon test, or, I mean? when
No,
you
it's
test
tests for the
51,
specific pesticide molecule of interest for, say, you know, if we talk Eagle 20, just remember that one. You know, and that one has a specific molecule that is the active molecule as a pesticide. So they'll test for specific molecules when it comes to pesticide testing from the common pesticides that are used in this product, used in production.
Okay.
I can emphasize more afterwards.